What's up, guys? It's Abel. Broken the old classroom, which is totally empty, by the way. A little bit crazy in here, but I thought I would show you guys some of this electromagnet stuff that we've been kind of talking about and you guys have been working on. First of all, congratulations on a lot of you guys have been completing this, so this has been really good. I think you guys have done a nice job. All of your results have been really excellent so far. Some things I wanted to kind of show you as we had a little bit of time here is, if we turn this thing down, we'll see how this goes. So here I have some of the stuff that you guys have been kind of playing with. So I asked you guys to make some coils of wire. So it probably looks something like that. This just happens to be a piece of copper wire that I just coiled up around a bolt. And if you notice, by itself, as we all know, copper is not magnetic in any way, right? But when we introduce a current to it, put this over here a little bit more so you guys can see. When we introduce a current to it, all of a sudden we can take something that's not magnetic at all and turn it into a magnet. So you can see right now it's not hooked up. And so, the paperclip falls right out. If we stick that baby in there, and then we hook it up, now all of a sudden we have an electromagnet, right? So this magnet is as strong as these coils of wire. So when you think about this coil of wire, think of this bolt as a coil of wire. The magnetic field, as we looked at before, it kind of goes around it like this, right? And so a coil of wire, just a regular wire that's just straight, we just took a regular piece of wire here that's not coiled in any way, and we put it next to this group of paper clips, nothing happens. Now there is some magnetism there. If you had a compass, you could see the magnetism, but because it's all in this circular fashion, it's just not very strong. So what this does, this is called a solenoid. So what this does, hey Bob, you guys want to do a video for my class? Say hi, Bobby.
Hi guys.
So working on a little bit of science here, real quick. We're breaking in. I'm sorry if I made making a mess. So
I'm gonna be spraying down today, so
yep.
Today will probably be the last day for a while.
That's fine, no problem.
Okay.
Yep. See you later, buddy.
You have a good day.
Yeah, you too. So going back to this, guys, I wanted to show you a couple things about this solenoid. When you do this, the coils of wire, what happens is that circular pattern that we talked about goes back and overlaps inside the center of this solenoid. And so because of that, it creates a ton of magnetism in the center of it. If I were to put this paper clip, put it down so you can see it a little bit. If I were to do this same experiment we did a second ago with this paper clip and just try to pick it up on the outside, doesn't work at all. Can't pick up that paper clip. But if we stick it in the inside where those overlapping magnetic fields are, now you can see it sucks itself in, right? So this solenoid by itself is, has a little bit of magnetism, but if we introduce a ferromagnetic core, so just a bolt is all this is, and I just stick that in there, all of a sudden that thing that was semi-strong or a little bit strong, now all those overlapping magnetic fields overlap inside that bolt, and then if you look, as soon as I hook this up, now all of a sudden we have a magnetic field that's really strong. We can pick up a whole bunch of paper clips with it, right? And then when we unhook it, it comes off, most of them. But you can see, so this is an example of what we're talking about. As far as your lab went, the things to kind of think about when you're doing this, the more coils of wire that you can have, the better off that you're going to be. Because each one of those little coils acts like its own little magnetic field, and then as it overlaps, it creates more and more magnetism. So the more coils of wire you have, obviously the stronger it's going to be. So if we take a really long piece of wire, like this is like a meter long, and we wrapped it around a really long bolt like this, you would get an electromagnet that's very, very strong. And if you think about it, those junkyard magnets that pick up cars, all those are the tiny little bits of wire that are wrapped around this big old core, and there's a whole bunch of them, and that allows enough energy, enough force to pull up that whole car. And the great thing about electromagnets is you can just turn them back off again. So it's not like my big magnet we got stuck on my card up here. It's more along the lines of something that can pick up thousands of pounds rather than hundreds of pounds. So when you did this, if we had a whole bunch of wires, and I did this very quickly, but if you coiled this all the way around like this, which is obviously more wire than what we had before, And we hook up. This just happens to be a battery charger, so I don't have to use a battery. I picked a bad piece of wire. There we go. So if we hook this up, then all of a sudden this becomes even stronger than what we did before. You can see it picks up a huge amount of paper clips, right? So moving forward, first of all, I'm darn proud of you guys. You know, a lot of you have completed the lab, so I'm happy about that. If you have not done so, go ahead and please do. All the stuff I'm going to send you is just stuff to try to keep you from being bored, as well as to try to get you some of the concepts that we hopefully will be talking about when we come back to school here in a couple of weeks. And so having those concepts, that backbone of knowledge just from you guys being able to do these tests on your own is really going to help. Some things to kind of think about. I did attach onto Classroom a class average document. I may combine those into one, so we're all kind of using the same document. That might make it a little easier. The other thing, too, is I went a new way in the graphs. Obviously, you guys don't have graph paper and stuff at home. And so the graphs are going to be made on Google Classroom using Google Sheets. So when you do that on Google Sheets, it creates that graph right for you. I made a couple of videos, or I put a couple of videos on there, and I made an example one. Just play with it. I mean, it's one of those things that you got to kind of mess with a little while, but it's very simple once you start to work on it a little bit. As I said, I'll probably send you guys an email along with this video, but I'll send an email about when I want you guys to get stuff done. If at some point you don't have the materials for what we're doing, don't worry about it. I mean, try your best, but if you don't have the stuff, you don't have the stuff. It's not a huge deal. And, you know, with electromagnets, I just gave you guys kind of the basics to get started, but try to make one as strong as you can. See if you can make one that picks up, 50 or 100 paper clips. You know, if we were doing this in class, we were going to have a competition where I just have a big jar of stuff and you guys can create electromagnets out of it. And we always have a competition to see how strong we can make it. Feel free, if you guys are doing something cool, shoot me a video of it. If it's really neat, I'll throw it onto a Classroom so everybody can see it. And if you guys need anything, please, please, please let me know, okay? Otherwise, take care of yourselves. Love you all. We'll see you soon, hopefully. Bye.